Next set of lifters are doing a single bell pentathlon. As you might imagine, the single bell pentathlon is made up of 5 different lifts. We will talk you through those as the lifters are performing each one. The 5 lifts are done for 6 minutes at a time with a 5-minute break in between each of the lifts. We start a pentathlon with a single bell clean. So these are probably some of the heaviest bells that we will see lifted today. Okay, our next set of lifters, please welcome to the platform Alex Hodgkinson on platform 7, Joel Bamford on platform 6, Greg Stubbs on platform 5, Tim Joseph on platform 4, Alan Holborn on platform 3, and last but not least, Alan Lyon on platform 2. I'ma make my way through. Don't play around unless I'm playing round 2. Only one shot for it all in life, it ain't no round 2s. All gas, no brakes, all work, no play, all night, all day. I'm moving too legit. All gas, no brakes, all work, no play, all night, all day. Nah, I could never quit. I still give my all to life, nothing less. Around the silence, try to I swear my last time I was never winning on the front, I like the back nine. I live in the moment, not the past time. Sorry for my sin and never tripping about my past life. Are we ready, judges? With every win is lost. Put on a smile and yeah, judges ready. I'm going back. Athletes, are you ready? It's like I'm playing tag. Use my 24, my heart like 24. 3, 2, 1, lift. But really I saw, almost gave it up, and now I'm more. Plan B, I ripped it up when I was on a ledge. I was holding on for hope, I only had a thread. Rose up when they fell, I'm standing when they said. This ain't no game of show, my life is not a script. Now it's all work, no play. Put in my time, it's over, filling my cup. All night, all day. Around the clock and I won't never catch up. All gas, no brakes, all work, no play. All night, all day, I'm moving too legit. All gas, no brakes, all work, no play. All night, all day, nah, I could never quit. To give my all to life, nothing less. Started at the bottom, had some problems, still had no regrets. Sitting at the top, you didn't notice yet. Moving around in silence, try to hide it. That is 1 minute in, athletes. So in the single arm pentathlon discipline, there is a maximum number of reps for each of the lifts. For cleans, it is 120 in the 6-minute time limit. So you can see our athletes going at quite a pace. That is 2 minutes in. Let's have a quick look at the repetitions. Alan on 42, Alan on 45, Tim on 41, Greg on 45, Joel on 44, and Alex on 45. Looks like all our athletes are on track for the max reps.
So for the purposes of the clean, our amazing judging team are looking for a notable stop, distinction between each of the repetitions, multiple hand changes are permissible, and in the clean we have to do a hand-to-hand swing. Speed switches are not allowed for this particular discipline. No doubt we will see some of those later.
Home run, touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner talking home run. Touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner like.
You have 90 seconds left, athletes. Just having a look at the scores. Alan on 90, Alan Holden on 99, Tim Joseph on 94, Greg on 99, Joel on 99, Alex on 96. We are into our last minute now. Let's give them some support. Last 30 seconds now.
Get you some binoculars so you can see.
And we have Alan finishing on 120. Great job, Alan. We also have Greg on platform 5. It is 120. Joel on platform 6. Alex. And time.
So Tracy, if you were having your 5-minute break here on the pentathlon, how would you spend it?
Well, I'd be thinking about my next lift. Probably taking some hydration on board. I think when you've just performed the clean, the first exercise, it is normally the one done on the heaviest bell. So you would be trying to make sure you're getting definitely some hydration on board and taking the best amount of recovery that you can ahead of the next lift, which is obviously the long side curl press. It tends to be a bit lighter, so you can extend the recovery into that lift as well.
I'm curious to see whether Alan will ever sit down in any of his breaks or whether he's going to always prowl. Maybe towards the end he will sit down. I've noticed sometimes people do take a gel, and I can see Greg is a Jelly Baby fan, and Alan is a Jelly Baby fan as well. I tried taking a Jelly Baby on a 10k run once, and I couldn't even swallow it. The idea that you do these things while you're running or lifting, I just didn't do it for me. But whatever floats your boat, they'll have practice, they'll know what they need to do.
Indeed. Yeah, I've always had a little bit of a. I've had a problem with a Jelly Baby, but the energy gels. For the benefit of YouTube, that was that was Al just hitting the microphone rather hard. What we were saying, so on the energy gels, I just don't get on with. I am more of a regular nutrition type of person. Yeah. So the sugars of a Jelly Baby, it will definitely do it for me in the breaks.
So then it's one of those lifts where you definitely need a towel. As soon as you stop any of the lifts, you just start dripping. So
I think Joel on platform 6 is a man after your own heart, Jenny, with a sweatband.
Yeah,
A
gotta have a
sweatband
headband.
for such an eventuality. But yes, I definitely think towels are needed. I mean, you can see a lot of our athletes, they've pre-chalked all of their bells, particularly when you're doing a lift like cleans, that is fast, 120 repetitions. You know, you need to make sure that you don't lose grip on the kettlebell, because obviously we know where that can lead. Dropped bells and disappointment.
I've tried that. I don't recommend it. Yeah. So for us, we train together. So we always think of long cycle press as a bit of a recovery after all that 120 reps on your heaviest weight. The maximum you can get on long cycle press is 60, and you tend to go a lot lighter because you've got to get it overhead compared to a clean, and just try and recover a bit more from the cleans. It would be interesting to see whether they use that tactic here. They'll all go down, but whether they go down a lot, they'll have worked out their numbers to know what they're aiming for, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. So I think just looking at the bells that have been placed on the platforms at the moment, I think we can see Alan Holborn has definitely taken our strategy into the next lift. He's gone lighter. So the purple one is a 20 kilogram bell. Looks like Alan Lyons is going for the 24, and I would suggest Joel and Alex look to be doing the same. Platform 5.
So Greg has gone 28.
Yeah, and it looks like Tim is in the same ballpark, but maybe a 26.
I think that's a 26 because of the black stripe. You can just see around the top of the orange.
So it looks like we've got a few athletes that are going heavy for the next lift. It's interesting the different strategies that you see.
Yeah.
And I do think the chaps with the kind of real upper body strength, you know, perhaps don't find this lift particularly taxing. Whereas I would definitely be thinking recovery all the way.
Absolutely. Get ready for the half snatch, I'd be thinking.
So we are less than 20 seconds now to our next lift, long cycle press. 10 seconds, athletes are back on the platforms. 3, 2, 1, lift.
A bit like Tracy.
So if you're new to the sport, there is an app that we can use where we can program what the max reps are, what points we would get with various different bells, and we've got a final total of points that we're aiming for. We can work out with a bit of maths and kettlebell chess almost, I think of this. What bells are we going to use for what lifts to get the total points we want? And I know Alex is going for a PB today, 1,600 points. So he'll be thinking, he'll have chosen his weights carefully, he'll know what reps he needs to go. And he didn't get this quite when he did a competition 2 weeks ago at Ollie's in the Wolfpack. So he'll know which ones he needs to increase on, and I expect him to try and up his half snatch total, because I know he didn't get max reps, and I don't think he got max reps on push press. So he'll have worked out exactly what bell, what reps for which of the 5 lifts to get that total. And I wouldn't bet against him. He's a fighter.
He's a determined guy, and I think that's really interesting that, you know, pentathlon is quite a strategic discipline. In that because there are 5 different lifts, and obviously each lifter has their preferences and the lifts they are stronger at, and I think it's really important. I mean, I've definitely utilised the app that you're talking about there, Jenny, to work out what the maximums are and what tweaks you can make to try to just eke out a few extra points.
So this lift starts with the clean that we saw in the first 5 minutes, but then it's just got to go vertical with no force from your legs. So you must keep your heels down, you must keep your knees straight. It's a horrible lift, isn't it? And some people do this with 2 bells, and some people do it for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or even 60 minutes. I don't get it.
So that is us at the halfway point. We have Alan on 34 reps, Alan Holborn on 41 reps, Tim on 34 reps, Greg on 34, Joel on 38, and Alex on 36. So we were just talking there, Jenny, about this being a horrible lift. And I think it is a tricky lift if you're a lifter, but I've always found this a tricky lift to judge as well. So what our judges are looking for, as you mentioned before, is that there's no heel lift, no power coming from the legs, but then there has to be a notable stop in the clean position. And obviously the fixation at the top of the lift as well. So one of the key ways that I would try to judge this lift is you sort of start from the bottom, making sure that there is no heel lift, that there's a stop at the clean, and then obviously ending at the top. Which basically means you're just looking up and down the athlete for the entire time that they're lifting.
Some very, very nice technique here. There's a big lean back from the clean position to kind of get your head and your shoulder out of the way, to go in a straight line from the hip up above. But you don't want to get right back, you need to get your head forward at some stage as well, so that your ear and your bicep are in line at that top position. A lot of lower back strength. We see nearly everybody's wearing a belt. Alan Holborn on platform 2, no belt, and Alex, no belt.
So we are approaching the last minute. Alan has finished his lift with 60 repetitions. Our remaining lifters, just a few more reps to go. That is Joel that's concluded his lift. Also finished. And the end for Alex on this one, 60 repetitions. Tim finishes with 10 seconds to go. And Alan finishes also. So all our lifters taking advantage of a little bit of extra rest.
And that's the choice, isn't it? You
Absolutely.
can finish early and get 1 minute more rest for Alan Holborn, or you can pace it evenly and finish dead on. Yeah, Alan Lyon is not going to sit down with any of his breaks, is he?
He isn't. Looks like he's preparing that bell for the next lift, which is the single arm jerk. I think he was just adding a magnet to the bottom of that one, so unlike some of our GS lifts, the pentathlon means you can lift the in-between weights. So we were discussing in the first double arm lift, we would lift in 4 kilo increments. We can do 2 kilo increments for the pentathlon. seen a lot of toweling down, but I think the mood back there looks a little bit more jovial.
They do look quite relaxed, don't
yeah,
they?
they do.
We've lost Joel, I'm not quite sure why. It's quite unusual to lose an athlete off the platform in the middle of a set. Nature, perhaps.
Indeed. When you've got to go, you've got to go.
It's amazing how time changes during a pentathlon. That first 5 minutes seems to last about 5 minutes, and then they increasingly get shorter and shorter. And that last one, I swear, lasts a minute max, maybe nearer 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think we could do a full podcast, Jenny, on the time warping that kettlebell sport brings. I think if you felt like your life was passing too quickly, then just do a 10-minute kettlebell set, and that will definitely slow down time for you. I always feel like the interval sets always do that really well. That the time in the rest period, like you say, faster and faster. The time in the working period gets slower and slower. All in the 50 minutes that you're lifting or resting during the pentathlon.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you a belt fan? A lifting belt fan?
I do like to wear a belt just for jerks.
Yeah.
So I've predominantly done GS lifts in my time as a kettlebell lifter, and I find for long cycle do get a few arm bruises when I'm catching the belt on a long cycle, but yeah, definitely for jerks. I think it helps a lot of things, really kind of stops the hyperextension of the lower back.
Is this the live stream? What's on the screen?
That is 30 seconds lifters, 30 seconds to the next lift.
I sent you that document that's got folks' information on it, just so that you've got it there. Not everybody's done it, but...
Oh. So we are into the next lift. Little misstart from me, sorry lifters. Distracted by members of the British Kettlebell Association crew. So the maximum number of reps for jerks is 120, same as cleans, which means our athletes will be going at around 20 reps a minute. And the one thing they are allowed to do in this one is the speed switch. We can see one of our athletes, they'll give you a little demonstration. Oh, there he goes. Greg, was that Greg? Yes, it was.
So Greg is on 34 kilograms, I think. Isn't he that?
Looks like it.
That's a lot.
It is. It is indeed. Looks like Tim's got a 28 kilo kettlebell. I think Alan Holborn has a 20, and I think Alan Lyon also has a 28, and obviously Alex on platform 7 has a 24 kilo kettlebell. I think one of the things you do get in the pentathlon, particularly cleans and jerks and the push press, is that the pace that you have to go at. I think it's probably one of the only disciplines in kettlebell sport where you really have to go that fast.
Yeah.
And of course that comes with very specified training.
And for me, that's where there's a real mathematical trade-off between max reps on a lighter bell, or maybe I'd miss 5 or 10 on a heavier bell, but I might still get more points if I miss that 5 or 10 on the heavier bell than max reps on the lighter bell. So that's where it all needs thinking out and practicing and training.
And I think one of the things that goes through all the disciplines for kettlebell sport is that precision. And you can see our athletes here now, you know, they have to hit those same positions, the second dip, the overhead fixation every time. Particularly important when you're doing a lift like this at pace, because if you miss one of those positions, it takes extra seconds to steady the bell. You know, that time you can't make back.
Yeah. And the pen plays with your mind, because you pick up the bell and there's that minute where you think, well, that second where you think, which lift am I on now? And the more tired you get, the more confused you get, and the less decisions don't seem to be that easy somehow. Even when to switch can be a difficult decision.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And I think as the athletes progress through the lifts, the other thing you see is the wear and tear on the hands becomes obviously another dimension that they have to consider, which again changes your strategy for the number of hand changes.
Yeah, and for me the challenge is always the clean, which is the heaviest lift, but it's also the one that can potentially do the most damage to your hands. I've started sets and finished at the clean because my hands have not made it.
Yeah.
So it's all part of the practice and the training and the hand management that goes into the sport as well.
Absolutely, and I think we've all been in a competition where, you know, you're trying to replicate something you've done in training, but the excitement, the adrenaline of the competition, extra sweaty hands, you've torn your hands, it doesn't quite go the way that you would have liked it to have gone, or the way that it has gone in training. So approaching our last minutes of the jerk discipline, Alan Lyon on 100 reps, Alan Holden 115, Tim on 100 repetitions, Greg 107 and Alex on 98. Last 30 seconds, let's give the guys some support. Alan Holden has finished, that is Greg finishing with 120. And Alan Lyon concludes, spot on the time. And that is 113 for Alex. So the start of the 5-minute rest.
Well, at least Alan Lyon looks tired now, which he hasn't done before.
Yeah, but still refusing to sit down. Camps. We've just had an update from our tech master, Al, that the results are being updated live on the website. You can see all the flights that are going on today, as well as the obvious links to the live feed. If you are working or with us in the room, we have QR codes distributed about the place where you can access all of that information.
So Alex is going for the gel. I get my hands so sticky. Everything's sticky after a gel. He'll know what he's doing though.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
He looks a bit defeated after his jerk
yeah,
set. I'm hoping he'll get his head together.
I think this is definitely the point the fatigue sets in. So obviously we're now 3 lifts in. First one was 120 reps. Second one was only 60, but I think after your second 120 rep lift, that does start to take its toll.
I can see Alex's partner and daughters are both in his eye line and they're having a bit of a chat as best you can over a distance of 20 yards. I can tell they believe in him. Hoping he's believing in himself now. I should warn you, Tracy, that Alex will watch this back and listen to the commentary.
Should we start to dig some dirt on him then?
Of course, Alex will always be known for one major thing, which is a bit of a pentathlon mishap when the bell flew out of his hands. We've all done it, well I have. But somehow Alex's bell travelled a distance and made a bit of a mark on a apparently brand new, never been used before floor at great concern to the hosts. I reminded him of it this morning actually. It's part of his identity now.
I remember the incident well, Jenny. That was part of, maybe one of the last things I had to do with my tenure as president of the EKA is to write a letter to the hosts to just correct them on 1 or 2 things associated with that particular incident. Obviously we're supporting our lifters when they lift abroad. We have insurance as the EKA, and we definitely don't need our lifters being accosted for a unfortunate accident.
I'm very glad you handled that.
So 30 seconds lifters. Half snatch coming up. Not going to miss the start of this one, promise. Ten seconds lifters. 3, 2, 1, lift. So now we move into the half snatch. So we would normally see in the GS style lifts the full snatch, which doesn't involve the drop into rack before the next repetition. I do actually quite, say like in the loosest sense of the word, but it's an improvement on, in my opinion, regular snatch because they're less difficult on the hands.
The other big advantage of the half snatch is that there's 2 official rest positions. So there's the rest overhead, but then you can just rest it on your hip. Alex just had a bit of a rest on his hip then. So it's just a little bit easier to recover.
quite a difference in the bell weights again for this lift. So I think we have Alan Lyon at the far end on platform 2 with I'm going to say 26 because I think there's a magnet on the bottom of that kettlebell. Alan Holborn, I think that's a 20. Tim looks to have a 24 and 28 for Greg. I think Alex. So we are 2 minutes in, athletes. Let's have a look at the reps. We have Alan Lyon on 37, Alan Holborn on 40, Tim on 39, Greg on 38, and Alex on 23. So the maximum number of reps for this discipline is 108. So that's 18 reps a minute. So a little bit slower than the cleans and the jerks. Still a fairly lively pace, Jenny.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you've just done 2 of the 3 sets at 20 RPM, to suddenly have to get your head around 18 RPM always confuses me sometimes. They'll have the change patterns. For me, I couldn't cope with too much maths, so I would do 9, change 9, and try and make that 9 be on 30 seconds.
Last 2 minutes, lifters. We are into the last minute now. Let's have a look at the reps. Alan Lyon on 92, Alan Holborn on 99, Tim on 95, Greg on 94, Alex on 61. Last 30 seconds. Let's give them some support, guys. Alan Holborn concludes his lift. Last 10 seconds. Time. seconds, lifters. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, lift. Going to the final lift now, Jenny. This is the push press. So what are the judges looking for?
So what they're looking for is the same with most movements, which is fixation at the top. They're looking for the heels down, but the key difference between this lift and the second lift alongside the press is that you can bend your knees this time. So heels are down, but you're doing that dip with your knees so you can get some propulsion from your thighs to try and get that bell up. So still a very tricky technical lift, but a bit better because you get at least a little bit of that. But you're better. Leave nothing on the platform moment.
I do also feel it's quite cruel that this one is another 120
Yes.
rep lift that the athletes finish with. And you're quite right, even though there is some power that you can use from the legs in this particular lift, it does really take its toll on your shoulders. One of the benefits though of pentathlon, the single bell version, is the multiple hand switches.
Yes. Yes.
Although
So this is another speed switch one, along with the jerk. This is the only. I'm just checking my brain here. Yeah.
that is correct.
You can do a speed switch here, which is handy because you're getting a bit tired. Double hand on the bell really helps. Just a little bit quicker as well.
Yeah, it really helps the athletes with that maximum number of reps. You can be saving a little bit of time on the hand changes. There's a little bit of history on the pentathlon lift. When I started lifting, Jenny, and I'm sure it was the same for you, that we used to have fixometers on the bells.
Absolutely. That was just awful, wasn't it?
It was indeed. So this was a little device that sort of strapped to the bell handle. It didn't interfere with lifting, but there was then an iPad facing you from the judges' platform, and until the screen went green, it did not count as a rep.
I think the numbers would have been quite a bit lower in those days.
Indeed, they were.
I was never confident they were consistently calibrated.
No, and I think that was the problem with them. There were a limited number of them available. Calibration was questionable, but it's interesting, how things change in the sport over time. We are into the last 2.5 minutes. Last lift for our athletes. On platform 2, we have Alan Lyon on 76. Platform 3, Alan Holborn on 87. Tim Joseph on platform 4 on 75. Greg on platform 5, 77. Alex on platform 7 on 57. So last push for these guys. Two minutes left. Last minute now, athletes. And that is Alan Holden concluding the final lift with the maximum number of reps. Last 30 seconds for our remaining athletes. Ten seconds, guys. Let's give them some support.
Come on,
Time. Congratulations to our pentathletes. Let's just have a look at the points. So platform 2, Alan Lyon, 1,971 points. Alan Holden, 1,560 points. Tim, 1,914 points. Greg, 2,148 points. And Alex with 1,459.5 points.
I'm just watching the attempts to clear the platforms now.
Sponsored by Wolverson Fitness and presented by the Scottish Kettlebell Sport Federation and English Kettlebell Association, supported
with
by
our
Battle
precision timing in 3 minutes.
Absolutely. So on our next flight, we have Charlotte Welton, Abby Johnson, Rachel
the
Davies,
16th of August, where lifters from around the world will gather together to compete in pentathlon, marathon, world games, and GS sports.